Hi, my name is Desiree. How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Good. And what is your name again?
Lauren?
Lauren. Good. Is it okay if I call you Lauren?
Yes.
Good, 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 good. Before we get started, Lauren, just want to first of all thank you for coming today. Thank you for um, taking the first step in your new journey. But before we really get into everything, I just want to let you know that if it's okay with you, I would like to jot down a few notes so that I can go over my notes in future sessions to make sure that we're staying on track with what you would like to have done and what you would like to come out of that. Is that going to be okay with you?
Yes, that's fine.
Great, great. I also wanted to let you know, as far as confidentiality goes, everything that you say in here will be kept in here with me and you. The only time I would have to go outside of that is if you say that you are going to be, you're going to harm yourself or someone else. So for those purposes, I would have to bring someone else in. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, great. Once we get started, we'll go for probably about 25, 30 minutes, and at which time we'll go ahead and take a little break. We have refreshments out in the lobby area. You're more than welcome to help yourself to that. I'll meet with my team, go over a few things, and then we'll come back in and we'll go ahead and we'll finish up. Our session today will probably be about 50 to 55 minutes.
Okay.
If at any time you feel like you need to take a break, you need to regroup, you need to get something to drink, go to the restroom, just let me know and we can stop and pause for a moment.
Okay.
Other than that, we'll continue to go on through. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's get started today, Lauren. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Lauren? Who is Lauren?
Well, currently, I'm a single black female. I go to school and I have two full-time jobs.
Mm.
Um, just have one older sibling, um, and I live alone. Um, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you go to school. What school do you go to?
Currently I go to Ivy Tech.
You go to Ivy Tech. What are you majoring in?
I'm undecided.
Undecided. Okay, so you go to Ivy Tech. You're undecided. Are you full time, part time student?
Part time.
Part time student. Okay, you have one older sibling. You have two jobs. Okay, are both of those full time?
Yes.
They're both full time. Okay. Where are you working at?
I do home health care and
Okay.
then I work at Lowe's.
And you work at Lowe's.
Yes.
Okay. You said you live by yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Great. 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 Are you from here in the city?
Yes.
Okay. So you've been here all your life. Okay. What high school did you graduate from?
I graduated from Northwest High School.
Northwest High School. What year did you graduate in?
2007.
2007. Okay. So you graduated from Northwest High School in 2007.
Yes.
Currently attending Ivy Tech. Okay. And you're undecided in your major.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Great. What else could you tell me about Lauren?
Um.
Like, what's a typical day for Lauren?
So a typical day would consist of um, getting off of work because I work overnight. Um, Taking a nap for a couple hours. Let's see. Once I wake up, I'll maybe do some homework, watch TV for a little bit, um, and if I have school, then I'll usually, go on to school, and I'll be there until about maybe 4 o'clock. If I don't have school, I just pretty much lounge around all day and just get caught up on things.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like you have a pretty eventful day.
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you doing this Monday through Friday? Do you keep these same hours on the weekend? How does that go?
Yes, I do the same. I do the same thing pretty much Monday through Friday. So, um, it's pretty much home, you know, work, school, homework, school. So it's pretty.
Pretty intense schedule.
Yes.
Okay. Homework, work, school.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Great. 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 So, with all of that you have going on, what brought you in today?
Well, considering that I have a pretty hectic schedule like that,
Mhm.
I wanted to try to see if I can um, maybe find solutions with, let's say, being able to manage my home life,
Hmm.
my school life, and my work life, because they're kind of getting to a point where they're interfering with each other.
Okay. Okay. So what do you think takes the most of your time?
I would say that work takes the most of my time, most
Work
definitely.
work takes the most of your time. And how many hours are you working between the two of them?
Between the two of them, at the least, I would work 60 hours. At the most, I would probably do about 80.
Okay. So between both jobs, you're saying you're fluctuating between 60 and 80 hours between
Yes.
the two. Okay. And how much of that is overtime, or is that all straight time?
Most of that is just straight
Just
time.
straight time. Okay. Are you ever mandated to do overtime, or
No, it's optional.
it's
Always
optional?
optional.
Okay. Do you ever take that option to work
I
overtime?
pretty often take that option.
Pretty off to take the time. Okay. When you opt to do the overtime, are you doing it for both jobs or just the one?
Just for one.
Just for one. And which job is that?
That's for my home health.
Home health. Okay. How many hours in addition for overtime would you pick up? In a,
Um,
let's say in a pay period.
in a pay period, since it runs from, it's either going to be a Sunday
Hmm.
and a Saturday. So in a pay period, I may pick up 16 to 24
16 to 24 additional
extra.
hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's look at the hours straight time versus school time. Now, how many hours are you in school?
I'm in school for about, go to school on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I'm in school for about 8 hours a day
Eight
for
hours.
those 2 days.
Okay, for both days it's 8 hours, or is
Yes.
it total eight?
For both days.
For
I'm in
both.
there from about 9:30 to 4:30, so maybe about 7 hours.
Okay, and you also work on those days as well,
I'll work on those days at night.
and just the one job, not both.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So when you set your time for homework, what does that look like? What times do you work in for your homework?
Usually the times I work in for my homework are typically the days that I'm not at school. So that would be Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
So Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays you have set aside for homework time.
Yes,
Okay, and those are not days that you typically pick up the overtime
correct. Well, I can't say that because it just depends. If I pick up overtime on those days, it would probably be in the day.
in the day.
Yes.
Okay, now does that cut in or interfere with some homework time? Maybe if you have a paper due or an exam to study for?
Yes.
And,
Typically because I like to start doing my homework around 11 or noon,
hmm.
and I'll give myself about 3 hours, so it does cut into it somewhat for about 3 hours.
Okay, so if when it cuts in on the days that it cuts into that time, where do you find the time to make that up? Do you make it up, or do you just count it as time lost?
I make it up. I make it up on days that I do work. So,
Hmm.
um, if I'm working in the daytime or overtime, I'll just kind of do work um, while I'm at work a little bit here and there,
Hmm.
or I'll think about stuff and jot it down
Hmm.
so that once I get a chance, I just put it all together.
Okay, okay, okay. What are your grades looking like in school?
Currently my grades are good. I'm still maintaining a 4.0 GPA, so
Okay, okay, okay. So you're still able to maintain a very um, awesome GPA with working both jobs and still doing the overtime.
yes.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Um, and I commend you for doing that. That is awesome. That's a hard transition for a lot of people, and the fact that you're able to do that and keep up with that, I commend you on being able to do that.
Thank you.
Great. So let's look at your job. Let's say the home health care. Your home health care job. When you leave work, are you able to leave work at work, or do you carry it on? If you have a client that's sick, or I don't know if you've ever had a client that's passed away. Do you take that with you when you
Um,
leave work, or do you know how to leave that?
I typically leave it at work.
Hmm.
Sometimes, if I have a rough day with a client, it kind of transitions over into my home life just
Hmm.
because I'm so exhausted and maybe sometimes irritated that
Hmm.
I kind of take it out on people or just don't feel like being bothered. So
Okay. So I'm hearing that it's affecting home life. Sometimes you get kind of agitated, kind of bothered, um, because you're bringing work home. Is there anyone around you? I know you said that you live alone, but is there any family members or friends that you spend time with?
yes, I spend time with my brother a lot
Hmm.
and my mother.
Your brother and your mother. Has your busy schedule affected them in any kind of way?
Yes, because a lot of times I can't do things with my mother just because I'm always at work or at school, so I can't really spend that quality time that I need to with her.
Hmm.
And as far as with my brother, um, it affects it because we don't really get to see each other anymore because he works in my schedule, so we just kind of brush past each other every so often.
Okay. What, if anything, have you tried to do to set time aside to be able to spend time with your brother or your mom?
Um, let's see. So far, um, I tried to say no to working extra so that I could have that time to be with them.
Hmm.
So that's pretty helpful. Um, right now, I can't think of any other things that I have tried.
Hmm.
So far, that's been the best way. But then also, if I do that, if I feel guilty for not saying or for telling my job no.
Okay. Okay. So when it comes time to spending time with them, um, you try to opt not to do the overtime, but spend that time with your mom and your brother.
Yes.
Um, and you said that you don't like that feeling of having to tell your job no. Let me ask you this, Lauren. Is there a specific goal that you have in mind? Is there a reason, something driving you to want to do this overtime, or are you just doing it because you just love to work?
Um, yeah, I do it because I'm a workaholic,
Hmm.
so I just love to work, and I look at it like, my job is, for the most part, is pretty easy,
Hmm.
so why not work? I have a lot of freedom in my
Hmm.
job where I can move around and have downtime, so I prefer if I figure if I'm just gonna be sitting around anyway, why not get paid for doing it?
Okay. Okay, that's good. That's good. So basically, you're saying, hey, if I'm just gonna be sitting around, best thing to do is make money.
Right.
Just sitting around. Okay. Okay. How do you think that makes your mom? Let's look at your mom. How do you think that makes your mom feel that she might not be able to spend as much time with you as she would like to because you're doing a lot of working?
Mm. Um, maybe it makes my mother feel like I don't want to be around her,
Hmm.
or that you know maybe I don't love her enough or enjoy her company enough to be bothered with her.
Okay. Okay. So you're thinking that maybe she's feeling a little neglected,
Yes.
like putting her on the back burner
Mhm.
to do for your job.
Mhm.
Um, More so than spend time with her.
Right.
How do you think your brother feels?
Um, I think my brother. Um, he doesn't feel as strongly about it because he works a lot too. So
Hmm.
I think he understands more, but maybe he feels a little bit of that same way too. Is like I don't want to spend time with them.
Okay. Okay. Have you ever heard either one of them say to you that they feel that way, or is this just an assumption? Do they act? Do they show it, or have they verbalized it?
They haven't verbalized it
Hmm.
verbatim, but I've had to read between the lines to know that that's
Hmm.
what they may be hinting at. So,
Okay. Okay. Is there anyone else that's close to you, a friend, a significant other, or anything that you spend time with?
yes, I have friends that I would like to spend time with, but I just don't get to. Um, just because of my schedules, we don't get to really go out during the daytime and just, maybe go hang at a bar, or we
Hmm.
don't get to go like, out to um, like a movie or just go do
Hmm.
like fun activities like bowling or
Okay.
skating or something. We don't get to do that anymore because I'm always really busy, and
Hmm.
I just dedicate more time to my job than pretty much anything else.
Okay. Okay, so the friends that you do have, you probably don't hang with them as much either due to your extensive and heavy weighted work schedule and school schedule that you have going on. Let me ask you this. If you were to go home tonight and you went to sleep and something miraculous happened while you were sleeping, um, and you woke up in the morning and you had all this free time in the world, miracle happened, there's a free time. What would that look like for Lauren? And how would you know? What would happen um, that will let you know? Wow, I have some free time.
Hmm. Let's see if a miracle had happened and overnight and I've noticed it, or I didn't notice it, but I know something was different. I think the first thing I would notice about the first thing I would notice about myself would be that I would be uh, fully energized. Like I would
Hmm.
feel like I've gotten the perfect amount of sleep.
Hmm.
So that would be the first thing I would notice.
Okay, what else would you notice?
Um, I would also notice that I wouldn't have anything to do. Um, Meaning that, I would have all my work done. I wouldn't have to go to work, so I would have a free day for that.
Hmm.
Um, I would just notice that I can I actually have a time to just do nothing.
Hmm. Okay. Is there any, let me ask you this first. Is there anything else that you would notice?
Um, I would probably notice that I will wake up with, texts or phone calls
Hmm.
from, my friends, just maybe checking up on me or talking to me, or, text from my mother or a call from her. Um, I wouldn't have um, thousands of calls from my job because trying to get me to come in because somebody didn't show up.
Hmm.
Um, so I wouldn't notice that too.
Okay. Has there ever been a time, let's say in the last 30 days, where you woke up and you didn't have anything to do?
Yes, it has been a time. I would say last week,
Hmm.
um, where some of my classes had kind of slowed down, and I had took one day to kind of get all my reading and work caught up. So those usually on my study days, which is like Thursday or Friday,
Hmm.
I didn't really have any work to do because I had got caught up days before. Um, so that was one of the times, and also that day I was able to go out to lunch with a friend, and I was able to have a conversation with one of my other friends for we stayed on the phone for maybe over an hour. I didn't have any distractions, any
Mhm.
phone calls. I didn't have to get called into work. Um, I still had to go to my other job at night, but I don't
Mhm.
have to be there until 11, so I considered the day over with by that
Mhm.
time. So that was one time last week that happened.
Okay. Has there ever been a time prior to last week where that has happened, or something similar to that has happened?
Um, yeah, it was another weekend that I actually had off. Typically, I'll get called into work on the weekends,
Mhm.
but it was one weekend where I didn't get called in. Um, so I was able to really enjoy every part of my weekend, and really do what I wanted to do, even if that meant not doing anything at all.
Okay. What else was there? Another time prior to those two? I know you mentioned one day last week. You didn't have, your studying was caught up. You didn't work. You spent a whole hour on the phone undisturbed with a friend. And then you just talked about another time here. Has there ever been another time other than those two?
Mhm. Um, the only time that I have that peace is when I'm just not working, when I'm simply just not working,
Just not working.
um, pretty much.
Okay.
Or maybe sometimes if I do work and do a earlier shift,
Mhm.
where I can get off at like 3. Sometimes it's not so bothersome.
Mhm.
So I think I've had a few of those as well.
Okay. Has there ever been a time where you didn't have work, you didn't have school, you didn't have any plans with your friends, you didn't have plans with your mom or your brother, where you just had time for Lauren to just sit in a corner and just not think about anything or anybody and just have a moment for Lauren?
Um, the only time I probably had that part was uh, maybe when during our spring break week.
Mm-hmm.
I try to plan my school schedule around, or my I try to plan my work schedule around that. So sometimes I'll be able to switch days with somebody. Maybe work a shift for them so they can work a shift for me, so I'll have that
Mm-hmm.
entire day off. So yeah, I think for like 2 days during our spring break week, I was able to have those 2 days where I didn't have to do absolutely anything or be bothered with anybody, any schoolwork. It was just all me.
And what did that day look like? What did you do for you?
Um, so that day, let's see, I woke up, made me some breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to just eat cereal or Pop Tart. I made some real breakfast. I was able to catch up on all my TV shows that I recorded,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, which was about a good 3 hours of just watching TV. I never
Mm-hmm.
get to watch TV. Um, After that, I was able to play my basketball game for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
for a couple hours. Um, Typically, after that, I like to take a nap, be able to sleep for another 2 hours or so. I was able to take my dogs out on a walk. Um, Able to just, what else did I do? Um, and I think afterwards, I just spent the day just kind of laying around. I got to clean, like fully clean up. Like when I clean, I like to take about 4 hours just to clean my whole house, get every nook and cranny,
Mm-hmm.
versus, just picking up here 30 minutes, taking, power cleaning. And then for the rest of the day, I pretty much just relaxed. One of them days, I think I probably was able to sneak a drink in.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, so let me ask you this. We're going to go back to this miracle morning. Um, what would you said that you would wake up to a text message? What would that friend notice would be different about that text message? They send you a text message. This miracle has happened. What would they notice that would be different?
Um, I would say my friends would notice that I texted them back immediately
Mm-hmm.
instead of waiting, 2 hours to
Mm-hmm.
respond. They would notice that I responded very quickly.
Okay, so your friends will notice how quick you were able to get back with them on the text. What would your mom notice different?
My mom would notice because she usually calls me early in the morning. And every
Mm-hmm.
time she calls me, I'm always just still asleep or sounding like I just woke up. So she would actually probably notice that in my voice, in my tone, that I'm up, that I
Mm-hmm.
had been up, and so that's probably what she would notice.
Okay. And what about your brother? What would he notice?
Um, my brother would notice that I would be um, more interactive with him. He would notice that you know, that I would call him, talk to him, hang out with him for a little bit. So that's one thing he would notice.
Okay, is there anything else that you think your brother would notice in particular?
Um, I don't know. I think that's probably it.
What about your mom? Was there anything else that she would notice?
She would know that I'm feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because most of the times, I'm just wore out or I get sick or have problems with my health. So she would notice, that I'm in good condition now.
Okay. And what about your job? What would they notice?
They would probably notice that my performance
Mm-hmm.
would be a lot better. Well, it's good now, but
Mm-hmm.
I would probably put in that extra, little more extra
Mm-hmm.
into my job.
What about your clients? Would your clients notice anything different if this miracle happened? Would they notice anything different about Lauren?
Um, they might notice that I don't know. They kind of describe the word that you would get if you drank like a lot of coffee. Maybe I would be more, I don't know, perky.
Perky? More wired,
Yeah,
more ready to just grab the helm and
yeah,
run with it.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, what about your classmates? Would they notice anything different?
Um, they would probably notice that I'm a little bit more active as
Mm-hmm.
far as I would participate more. Because when I'm tired in class, I really don't talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But once I've had that energy and I feel good, I participate more. I'm more verbal, um, a little bit more humor in me.
Mm-hmm.
So
So in your miracle, when you would wake up, you would the first thing you would notice is that you were well rested.
yeah,
You have this energy about you that you didn't have before. Um, you would wake up to this text message from your friend. You'd respond right away versus waiting till you wake up, have a cup of coffee, get to wherever your first destination is. Your mom will recognize when she calls, you're not groggy, you're not half drained, and but you're more alert and have to talk to her.
yes,
Um, your brother would notice pretty much the same thing. And with your classmates, they see the bubbly side of you, the more energy, the more fun. They see you more engaged
yes.
in the classroom. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, at this time, we're going to just take a little break here. I want you to go ahead and stretch your legs. Go ahead and help yourself to some refreshments out there. We'll reconvene probably in about 10 or 15 minutes. Give me a time to meet with my team. We'll go ahead and finish out our session, okay?
All right.
All right. See you in about 15
All
minutes.
righty.